And now, dear hearts, we are going to talk a little bit about ascension, and especially with the meaning that it is not a way to escape our problems. So I choose the two dictations, no small paragraphs of the dictations only. The first one is from beloved Mahatyohan, and he says, the purpose of individualization and the long journeys through the experience called life upon earth and between embodiments is to increase the presence of the flame of God I am, thus multiplying the Godhead, for the sacred fire in all its miracle work and activity is the activity itself of the Godhead, and its emanation and radiation is a blessing to all life. So, when we have our individualization, dear hearts, in that moment we become, or the mighty presence of the universe of our God parents give us the threefold flame. So that threefold flame is the central core of our beings. But in that moment, in that level, in that plane, we have that flame that is so powerful, but that flame cannot master the other planes or levels of life. So we are divine in that plane, but we in that plane have no real consciousness of our divinity. Because in that plane, everything, everyone is divine. So there is no difference. So we were divine, but not conscious of our divinity in that moment. So the purpose of life and it what is the goal of the presence of this universal I am presence is to master life in all the levels and planes of the universe. So we are individualized, and so in that moment we began our journey through experience, through incarnation. And as we overcome the challenge of this outer world in all the levels, the lower mental, the emotional, and the physical level, that, that flame, the sacred fire of God that is the central core of our beings expands. And as it expands, because that flame is one with the Godhead, is the expansion of the dominion of God in the central core, in the great, great central sun, also to all the levels or planes of the universe or of nature. So, and it is just through this experience that we can acquire the strength, the wisdom that we need to expand the flame and to master life and to expand the God's dominion through the universe or make it uh, go forward and forward. So individualization and even incarnation, it's a need and it's a precious gift for all of us. The Master continued, the pulsating flame is also God's garment of light, and the most concentrated sense that can be perceived through which divinity continues to expand its program of perfection. So notes that which divinity continues to expand its program of perfection, beauty, harmony, and plenty. The presence of the sacred fire within the human body is determined by the amount of light that is radiation forth from the individual through his faculties. That means soft feelings, words, and deeds, and capacities through the expansion of his gifts, of his talents, as well as the vehicles that he inhabits, that he shapes his physical body in the perfection of God, his emotional and mental level also in that perfection of God. And we can just do it through overcoming our challenges and mastering. That means mastering energy, substance, and vibration in all the planes of nature, especially in this physical level that we are conscious. And I took also these paragraphs of a dictation of beloved Serapis Bey, because it's here that we shall understand that ascension is not a way to escape our problems. So we are going to talk, but let us read the words of Serapis. He says, you know, beloved ones, the tendency of the alternator, and I think you know that, dear hearts, is such that when difficulties arise, when we are under pressure, when there are conditions to be surmounted which seem to try all the strength of the mental, emotional, etheric, and physical bodies, there is a desire within the outer mind to escape in some manner. Some of the orthodox beliefs have furnished such an escape for their followers by encouraging the mind to dwell on gold-paved streets in heavenly seats. I go to heaven, while for us, no ascended master students for the metaphysical and occult circles, they find a certain peace in dwelling on the so-called mystery of ascension. So we just substitute the idea of heaven for our ascension. And we want to have our ascension, but the intention to have it, that is the key. When individuals come to Luxor, the motive in desiring the ascension is immediately discernible, whether it be to draw from the causal body all of its wonderful perfection and through and around the lower bodies as a blessing to life in this physical level that we are, not in the cosmic level, because there we already have this mastery, or whether it is more or less of a wish to renounce a rather difficult task in the world of form and return Rome. So I do not want more to face the problems, the challenge here. I just go. I would like to return home. You see, that is a very childish desire, because I want my ascension, not because I am master of energy, substance, and vibration, because I overcome all human limitations. No, I want my ascension because I am just here with the word. I don't want more to face the problems. I don't want more to face the challenge. And I just, no, I want to come home back. And that is not the key. That is not that purpose of individualization and that purpose of life, dear hearts. That is not that purpose. That purpose means that if we are in this cosmic moment, of course, it's a chaos in this world, especially nowadays. No, I know that. But if we are here, it's because we have a mission and we needed to face it in the best that we can and not to escape. All is well. We need to call for our ascension, we need to decide our ascension, we need to do all that we can to have it, but not to escape the problems, but because we are master over them. That is the real mastery and the real meaning of ascension. So the master continues. People of all grades of development come to us here in Luxor, all seeking escape from the weird round of births and deaths. We have the 7 departments already described to you, through which the aspirant for the ascension must pass. And that means the first department, each department is like somehow an initiation. And the first department is the outer one, is the place where the disciple or the person decides to do God's will. So it's the outer one because when we start seeing that we'd like to ascend, we'd like to have our victory, the first thing in that department, we are going to be training to do God's will. Because we cannot go through other initiations without doing the God's will. Because that is the meaning of ascension. When you ascend, you are the perfection of God wherever God puts you in the universe. So you need to start there to learn to do God's will, not your will, but God's will, to face the problems of your life, because if they are there, there is a meaning, there is a reason, you need to face them and not escape from them. As you start doing that, the disciple, the chela, started doing that according to his growth on that part, then he becomes help from the second department, that is a group of the ascended masters still working in that department, that is together with the second ray, the illumination. And there, after he is doing his best, he doesn't need to be perfect, but he needs to want that perfection. But as he is striving to do the right thing, so he receives the illumination. And the illumination is given to the chela according to his efforts. So in the beginning, you just have basic tools to work. But as you do efforts, the master give you other advanced tools, but not before you were ready. You needed to do the efforts. And then you have the third department where the chela learns to love his God and his brother as he loves himself. So in this department, you need to dissolve the idea of separation. Because you see, The mighty presence within me is the same of the mighty presence within you, and is the same the mighty presence within beloved Saint Germain, beloved Gautama, and beloved Helios, and even above beloved Alpha and Omega. The mighty presence is the same, and is the same even in a very cruel presence. If there is still a flame there, because there is life, and if there is life, there is still some vibration of God still there. So that there is also that presence, and that presence also is the only one that is within each electron. So if we have a cellular here in that electron or electronic condition of this object, there is the presence of God here. The presence of God is everywhere, and we need to recognize it. We need to feel it. We are not telling anyone to love discord, but to love the presence of God that is within that presence that is discordant, for example. That presence is within, it's trying to come forth and cannot, because the outer conditions, that person is confused, is imprisoned. But the presence of God within that cruel, discordant presence is trying to come forth to fulfill the divine plan. And we needed to see, you needed to look, we needed to recognize it, and you needed to do our best to expand that spark that sometimes is almost dying, no, completely without radiation. But we needed to just boost that good part within everyone. Then, when we do that, we are ready for the fourth department. That is, as I understand that life is here, there, and everywhere the same, I start also to look to myself, to purify myself, because I cannot change anyone. I cannot change you. You see, I am here talking what I learned with an ascended master, but it's up to you to accept it as true, to test it in your life, and to see the changes that it is teaching you create in your world. I cannot do the change in your place. I just can share with you my experience. So I cannot change anyone. I just can change myself. And when I understand it, so I know that the key for my ascension is the purification of my being, so that I can perceive the real within the unreal, that I can see the plan of God within the illusions or behind the illusions of the world. Then I go to another department where the Chila is willing to consecrate all his energy, vehicles, time, and talents to the service of the Godhead. And that happens step by step. In the beginning, we just do a little bit, but then as we expand all the other departments, that we purify ourselves, that we remind ourselves that I am here, there, and everywhere. The only power and intelligence governing, that I decide to do my best, to do God's will, at all the moments, in all the moments of my life. Then I started doing more and more. I do every task of my day. If I am cleaning, in that moment, that cleaning action is consecrated as a divine task. If I am talking to my neighbor, I am consecrate that moment to God. If I am in a work, it doesn't matter if I work as a lawyer or as a receptionist or as a secretary or as IT professional or digital creation or as I am doing spiritual teachings for the ascended matters, it doesn't matter. I can consecrate all my activities to that presence. And then as I do it, I expand the flame within my heart and I am strength that presence through me. And that comes and grow the desire. That is the activity of the sixth department. The desire that to minister to all evolutions on the earth, no matter if human, elemental, or animal, in whatever form the Chila may encounter them. So to minister, that means that I am God in action. I am an example of the rightness, the perfection of that presence, and I help no matter what that come to me. If it's an animal, elemental, or human, I help everyone also to strengthen that God presence within them, that they can have a harmonious and blessed life. And as I am in perfect work with all these departments, then I receive the crème de la crème, the presence of the great ones for the seventh department in Luxor, where the Chila learns to become a master of energy through the sacred love of the sacred fire. So as I am doing all these kind of things in the best of my ability, I am overcome the challenge. I am become a master of life. I am overcome the limitations. I am mastering the challenge, my difficulties, and then I receive advanced assistance to achieve my ascension. And that is the right meaning of ascension. When I go through all these initiations, these departments, and I do my best, I make the efforts, the right effort, with the right intention, not to escape life, but to become a master of life. Then I become a true master. And I am master and I am ascended in all the levels of my being. So the right meaning of the ascension is that it's not an escape. We are going to talk more about it maybe next time. You see, we have problems in the world. It's not easy. It's always also not easy for me. But if we are here, we are here to face it, because otherwise we would not be here. If we are here right now, it's because we are within this collective karma and we needed to do our best. We need to be a light or the light of the world and not put more darkness into it. So ascension is not escape of problems, but the true ascension intention is I want to ascend to become master. And I cannot be a master if I do not face the challenge of my life.